Hello everybody, and today is another Learning Celtic Languages video. Today, we will be starting Common Brythonic. Now this is very similar to Gaulish, so all you people out there that want to learn Gaulish might want to learn this too, or just take notes because they're very similar languages as described by Julius Caesar, and as we can tell by the comparison between the two, for as far as we know. And so, Common Brythonic, as an explanation of what it is before we get going, is the common ancestor of Welsh, Cornish, Breton, and Cumbric. It is the language spoken throughout the island of Britain, except for possibly in Pictland, which is modern-day Scotland. And it's one of the older Celtic languages, and the Brythonic that I will be teaching isn't late Brythonic, which would have been around the 500s AD, or around the 400s actually, more or less AD. But the Common Brythonic I will be teaching is reconstructed by me by comparing Gaulish to the modern Brythonic languages and some of the evidence that we do have of actual Common Brythonic during the Roman era. And so the Common Brythonic that I will be teaching all of you today and next time is from around the 1st century, I'll say. Somewhere in between the BC, 1st century BC, and like 200 to 300, or maybe earlier than that, 80. And this will be probably the closest that we could get to reconstructing how Boudica or Caradicus would have sounded. And so, yeah, let's get on to the actual lesson, shall we? Here we have our cases chart. Here we have our roots. We have O masculine, O neuter, A feminine, A masculine, I feminine, I neuter, U masculine, U neuter, and consonant, which I'm representing here with an S. We have singular, dual, and plural. We have nominative, vocative, accusative, genitive, and dative. If you're not quite sure what those are, I would suggest you go to my Gaulish Lesson 1 video. We have os, on, u, o, os, obin, us, on, obi, on, u, o, os, obin, a, on, obi, a, in, ias, aus, abin, as, on, abi, as, an, ias, aus, abin, as, on, abi, is, in, is, ius, ibin, is, ion, ibi, is, ius, ibin, is, ion, ibi, us, un, os, au, ubin, os, us, un, os, au, ubin, os, us, un. And then consonant, esan, esos, esi, esse, eso, esobin, esses, esas, eson, and sob. The spelling and pronunciation I'll be using for Common Brythonic will be very simple and easy to read, unlike Welsh or Irish is to an average English speaker. It will be completely phonetic and will be very similar to how Gaulish is spelled, except instead of accent marks, well, I mean, I guess I will technically have an accent mark, but it'll be that little line that you saw above some of the vowels that means you lengthen that vowel, like the difference between and and besides that, really, the two spellings aren't different at all. In fact, I think in Gaulish, the Gaulish video, I might have used that too. I'm not even sure at the moment. But either way, here's some reasons to learn it while we're at it, because I sort of wanted to get the why you should learn this and the episode 1 all into one video this time. And some reasons why you should learn Common Brythonic is, first and foremost, if you're British, if you're English, and you don't have any Celtic heritage except for English, which you might not even consider Celtic heritage, technically you are part Celtic then, because most Brits are anywhere from between 40 and 60% Celtic in DNA. And this is from the Brythonic peoples, the same people that became the Welsh, except they have slight Germanic admixture from the Anglo-Saxons and Normans and Vikings, or Norsemen as is more appropriate to call them. Either way, that's one reason you can learn this, because it's the language of the ancestors of the British, and the Welsh, and the Cornish, and the Breton, and the Cumbric. So even if you're Scottish, you might want to learn this, because the Scots, especially the southern kingdoms in Scotland, such as Strathclyde, or Gogathith, or whatever it's called in the north, that the Welsh told poems about, were Brythonic in nature. Even the Picts might have been a sub-branch of the Brythonic language family. We just don't know, because they hardly wrote anything down. Basically all our evidence for Pictish is in place names, and from that we can conclude that it is a Brythonic sub-branch. Either way, that's another reason. It's basically the common language of all of Britain. And not only that, but there is some very inspiring figures in British history, pre-Anglo-Saxon British history, such as Boudica, which is very appealing to women, her story, because she basically stood up to the most powerful empire that had ever been known to the people there at that time, and destroyed 3 of their major cities. 3 of them. That's pretty big. And then there's Caradocus, which is my personal favorite, because every time he got defeated, he just got right back up, got a new army, and attacked. And even when he got captured and sent to Rome, he said a speech that pleaded for his life, but in a way that sort of told Rome, without me, you wouldn't be how you are. And that's what eventually led to him successfully being alive and staying alive in Rome for the rest of his life. So anyway, before I go, I would like to mention something real quick. And that is that this video, in fact this entire channel, was partially inspired by, not quite as much as Learning Old English channel, but partially inspired by an old channel that hasn't uploaded in a while called Lord Arstiel or something like that. I'll give a link in the description. Now he has his own version of Common Brythonic that he was teaching. I'm not quite sure where he gets this version from, however. And I did sort of use him as a source, but not quite that much, because I was iffy about why it was the way it was. But I still sort of used it. And because of that, I would like to thank him, even if he isn't around anymore, because he hasn't posted in like a year or so, probably even more than that. I haven't checked in a while. But I'll link that in the description as well. And I think before we go, I should do a couple of things sort of like him and do our first words, really. Our first verb words. You know, like I am, you are, that kind of stuff. Because usually in Celtic languages, to say something like that, it's sort of a modified verb. And we'll get right into that. Here we'll be simultaneously learning Gaulish and Brythonic simple verb conjugation, or at least of the verb to be. As usually the verb to be is an oddball when it comes to verb conjugation. First, let's start with Gaulish. I am is imi or aimi. thou art, which is you are singular, I believe, is esi. He, she, it is st. Usually you add he, she, or it at the or after this to make sure that it's you know which one it is. We are is imus. Although I've seen the band Eluvite pronounce it imos. You are plural is estes suis. They are is senti or essont. Now, as you can see, Brythonic is very similar. I am is sme. Thou art is asesi. He, she, or it is aeti or eseti. We are is ms or imos. You are is etesuis. And they are is senti or enti. Alright, everybody. That'll be all for today. Diolch and dithda.